what little wine I got left. And let's have the talk. So we're going to have a small talk about Microsoft. As everyone should know right now, Blizzard Activision got bought out by Microsoft. It should be noted that the federal government still has to approve of the buyout, but that will probably go fine. But after that, then Microsoft will then own Blizzard. Now, when it comes to takeovers, I'll just say I have some personal experience in that area with lots of money in regards to these companies that get bought out. In my experience, we can basically not expect anything for a while. And by a while, I mean like a year and a half. For people that are like, oh, Overwatch 2 is now going to get blah, 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 and Overwatch 2 is going to blah... No. Overwatch 2 is not even on the books for them. It will be in a year or so, but if you're talking about the release of Overwatch, they probably don't give two fucks about it right now, because by the time the federal government approves it, and by the time they actually start looking at the company and how they can integrate with it, how they can change things, how they can do all these other things, it's going to take like 6 months just for them to develop a report and a plan of action, if not longer. And then there's always the chance, and this may sound crazy, that the current employees kind of fight back. I'm not saying they will, I'm just saying this is a possibility. And I've experienced this myself. Personal. They can make it extremely difficult to work with, even if you own them. The truth is that it takes a lot, and I mean a massive amount, to take over a large company and try to integrate their processes, and get people in the right spots to do the right things to get everything going. The transition team, I would assume, is going to be about 2.5 years to kind of finish things. So don't expect anything to happen very quickly. We may get some rigmarole, like written policies and all that, maybe 6 months after the acquisition. But I wouldn't expect anything very quickly. So what can we actually expect from this takeover? I will say this. Microsoft is definitely a competitor against Google Cloud. That's a big fucking deal. Mainly because, depending on how the contract between Blizzard and Google is worded, because there is some partnership there, I'm not exactly 100% sure on the legality behind it, or whatever it is, but since they have exclusive rights to go on YouTube, I believe in most contracts, when there's partnerships and talked about partnerships, there is, how can I say this? There is a set amount of money that the company usually has to spend on their service. So right now, I believe Blizzard Activision's in partnership with AWS, Amazon. No, not Amazon. Sorry. It's Google. This means they're using, they're only broadcasting Overwatch League stuff to YouTube. It also means that a portion of the company is probably using Google services, Google Cloud. That doesn't mean our game servers are going to be Google Cloud right now, because I believe someone in my chat earlier was like, yeah, they're still using some AWS stuff. But what the contract probably states is, hey, you have to spend like $50 million a year on Google services. So once they reach that, they're like, I don't give a fuck. So for all I know, World of Warcraft could be this $50 million in YouTube or in Google services, and they're not changing over their Overwatch game servers. But with Microsoft, And Azure, Microsoft's cloud platform, is definitely a competitor against all the other major cloud platforms. It's massively a competitor. So, along with the other wording in the contract, usually contracts can be renegotiated or broken based on large changes, and change of ownership is one of those. I fully expect Microsoft to kind of break the contract, or at least modify it heavily, with YouTube and Google. This means, one, Overwatch League won't be stuck on YouTube only. I expect it to make a full return on Twitch eventually. I don't know how fast that'll go. That is a pretty easy one policy to change, and I can definitely see that being more open-ended. I would say everything, right now, Blizzard's probably like, oh fuck, I hope all of our code, I hope all of our internal stuff is cloud vendor agnostic, and because they're all going to be pivoting to Azure. Because it's not free, but you're using your own resources. You're essentially paying a different part of your company to use these resources. So, that's going to happen. Would Microsoft owning Overwatch mean updates get pushed to Xbox faster? Maybe. I don't know, because it's all based on the team. Usually when you start seeing people get fired and removed from a company, it's because the company that, it's like a Venn diagram. The company A, takes over company B, and they have a couple parts that overlap, and those are the parts that usually get chopped off of the company that got acquired. So let's say an HR department. I fully expect Blizzard HR, maybe they'll be stuck around for a little bit because of all the legal issues they've been in. But if they weren't in that deep of legal issues, that would definitely be one of the teams I would see get thinned out a lot. The internal team that manages like Blizzard corporate devices and other stuff like this, I expect those guys to get fucking whacked. Because they'll just switch over to Microsoft stuff. And this is if they just take it over completely. I do think they will, because Microsoft does have a games division, and they already talked about the guy that runs it now is going to be running it in the future, and that's when Bobby Kotick is probably going to get canned. So I see Overwatch League getting out of its stuck on YouTube, which should dramatically increase. Like, screw all of the places Microsoft has to display, like when Overwatch is being played, like whether it be Xbox Live or some Xbox Launcher or Game Pass or any of this stuff. The fact that it's coming back to Twitch should greatly increase its numbers and user happiness, let's say. Most people are going to love it that it's going to be back on Twitch. Other than that, I mean, they have one of the biggest companies in the world backing them. So it all comes down to, and we can talk about, look at, they can have skins from Skyrim, because Microsoft also owns Bethesda and Quake and all these others, Everyone's like, we're going to have a Quake skin now. Like, I don't give a fuck about any of that, guys. I don't care about this cross bullshit. To me, it all matters how Blizzard runs their game division. Microsoft runs their game division. I have no clue. I don't have any insight into that. I don't think anyone else really does either in the Overwatch community. Because the only people that really know how that's going to go is the C-level executive or the director of gaming at Microsoft. They could run it as like a subsidiary and just leave it alone and nothing really changes. They just kind of make money off of it, give it money. But there's a chance that their director will want his grubby little hands in all of the pots. And if that happens, no one can tell you what's going to happen. We can guess. We can say, good things will probably happen, because if good things happen, then they'll make more money, and they want to make more money. I get that. But their guys could be like, no, we are designing this game from now on. Most people, we'll keep the programmers that know the system, but once we know it, you guys are out. We're taking this shit over completely. We're changing it to whatever the fuck we want it to be. That could happen. It's unlikely, but that could happen. It's just how much control Microsoft is going to look at when they acquired this company. I've seen companies get acquired, and like what happened, like I said, it becomes a subsidiary. They're just like, you do your own thing, fuck it, we're not going to micromanage you guys, do whatever you want. I've seen that. So, that could happen, and nothing would change with Overwatch if that was the case. Yeah, I mean, I only see it as a good thing. They get money, they get infrastructure. All that shit's going to be lined up super nice for them, so they should only really have to worry about the development of Overwatch. So far, most of the game dev studios Microsoft acquired or has contracted with is mostly left alone, but we have to keep the mess, which is the current Blizz leadership, in mind. The current leadership for Blizzard is going to get outed. Like I said, the parts when a company gets acquired, the parts that are similar are the parts that get kind of gutted. A big part of that is management. Why the fuck do you need a C-level suite of associates at the top of Blizzard when there's fucking no Blizzard anymore? You don't. So a lot of CEO, CIO, CFO, all these C-level guys, they'll get paid a shit ton of money and they'll be fired. Or let go, however you want to put it. That's what's probably going to happen. So microtransactions other than loot boxes, like buying heroes, or do you think something to the core of Overwatch as free heroes wouldn't be changed? So when Microsoft owns things, here's the thing we have to keep in account is Game Pass. Game Pass is you pay $10, you get access to a large library of games, everything Microsoft owns. So if you wanted to play Bethesda games, Doom games, they got some other stuff. Blizzard's going to be put on there now. They got a lot of random games on this library where you pay $10 and you can play them all. It's kind of like Steam, but instead of buying a game, it's subscription-based. If you subscribe to Game Pass, maybe you get all the heroes. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you get PvE or PvP, but you don't get PvE. Right, my guess of what they were doing to Overwatch 2 when they first announced Overwatch 2, when they first announced Overwatch 2 and Overwatch League, I was like, oh, they're separating PvE and PvP. I fully expect PvP to come out when Overwatch League does, this April. I expect Overwatch 2 to be available to us a week after it goes live in Overwatch League. That way they build up hype for the league and all that jazz. But PvE is what's going to be paid for. That's what's going to cost money. So now that works with their Game Pass. Do I see them adding microtransactions? I think it would fuck up the integrity of Overwatch if you had to buy heroes. I do not expect you having to buy heroes. Do you have to unlock them with points like Apex? You could. And this is you could, because if Overwatch 2 is designed like I think it's going to be designed, which means counters won't be as strong as an important, then you could. Right now, Overwatch the way it's right now, and you're like, oh, I can't beat this Tracer, and everyone's like, go McCree, and they're like, I haven't buy McCree. What the fuck do I do? It's too integral to the part of Overwatch design right now for that design to be there. But if they changed Overwatch design in Overwatch 2, which they are, then maybe it could support that concept. But I don't see it doing that. I don't see him taking this game and forcing people to buy new heroes. I think that would suck. That would be bad. Loot boxes. Maybe they just get rid of loot boxes and they basically make the battle pass. I don't even know the battle pass system. It could work, but they could just make it so you have to buy skins. I mean, I'm not sure how they want a microtransaction at this. Other question is how much at a loss do they want to run the company, right? If they lose like $1 million, is that fine? If they lose $2 million, is that fine? All of their hosting services are going to be, I say free, but heavily discounted when you're fucking hosting your own shit. I don't know. They could make it everything free. They make it free to play. And try to microtransaction a whole bunch of other things. I don't know. They could take it into so many directions, and the thing is when you weigh the pros and the cons, each one is a good option. Sea of Thieves is a Microsoft exclusive. You can buy it and use it, or use the Game Pass. They make money with skins only and get monthly tons of free content. There you go. So that could be it. I would do the, what is it? I'm going to mispronounce it. Arkham's Razor. Occam's Razor. The simplest solution is probably what they're going to do. Arkham's Razor. No, this is what Batman would do. Yeah. They would spend a shit ton of money and save some people. Say they don't hurt other people, but leave them all to die. Occam's Razor would just be like, simplest solution is probably what they're going to do. Make it free to play, microtransactions, skins. Or not make it free to play, make it battle pass. I don't know. They could do either. First and foremost, it's going into the battle pass. And if Blizzard keeps acquiring the Infinity Stones, they have a chance to rival Steam. I think they're actually building up enough steam to fight them. At some point, Microsoft may just yank all their games off of Steam. And that'd be pretty crazy. But the thing is we can theory craft so much, guys, and it'll get us nowhere. In the end result, I see it only being good. I only see this being good. Partially because you can't get any shittier than things are right now, at least for Blizzard. Everyone bitches about Overwatch. We all bitch. I mean, I guess I don't bitch that much. A little bit. But you can take any hero, one trick them to top 500. That's really fucking good balance. Street Fighter 4, you couldn't even do that. Like, with each hero. And they were designed not to counter each other. Like, there was some really good stuff out there. And really bad heroes, and as good as players were, you couldn't do it with everyone. So I think Overwatch is in a really... I get we are in the content drought, but as an old person, I'm used to I'm used to buying an expansion pack. So I'm not... This isn't a bad thing to me. I wish balance was a little bit cleaner, but overall, not a big deal. Yeah, I think there's nowhere to go but up, so it's going to go up. The question is in what direction? I heard Microsoft... I mean, I heard they did Halo Infinite well, and they're running the esports scene there very well. And I know this, I watch a lot of Age of Empires 2, and Age of Empires 2 was supported, like... Guys, they were throwing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for Age of Empires 2 tournaments like 4 or 5 years ago, when the game had like 1,000 or 2,000 viewers on the biggest tournaments. Microsoft came out of nowhere and really supported that, and they supported Age of Empires 4, which I haven't followed up with recently, but they've done good. They've done good by gaming. I'm sure there's some examples of them not doing it, but all the recent examples I can think of, it's only been good. And now that Blizzard has, I'm just going to say it, infinite money behind them, it's interesting to see what an artist can do. Let's consider Blizzard an artist. What an artist can do when they don't have to worry about a lot of financial difficulties. Red Over says, yeah, the sale isn't official till next year, right? Correct. It's probably going to take a year and a half to finalize all of the purchasing of it, but it'll eventually happen. That's why Overwatch 2, until the paperwork is signed, that's going to take a while. And then even after that, it's going to take a year to 2 years to actually absorb the company. What Blizzard, I guarantee Blizzard's marching orders right now are continue the day-to-day operations as if nothing has happened. That's going to be the marching orders. Now, they may be like, we're going to look at moving our stuff to Azure, and they're going to start future-proofing things. But for the most part, it's going to be proceed as normal. That's it. I've seen a company get acquired, and that's usually what happens when they get acquired, until 6 months to a year afterwards, when you actually start running all of the analysis on how to move forward. Also, what's the implication for Overwatch PS4 and Switch? Will they result in no Overwatch at all on other consoles, or just other consoles that need to buy Overwatch 2? I don't see them playing that game right now. Yes, it is well within Microsoft's rights to take away all Bethesda, Doom, all of these games from all of the platforms away. But I don't see them doing that right now. They're starting to build a very strong case for themselves. They pulled in Bethesda and Blizzard products, and I'd be like, well, shit, I may need a Microsoft like Battle Pass account now, because that's how I gotta play it, because they took it away from everything else. I see Blizzard, or I see Microsoft keeping it more open market than anything else. The only time you want to like bring everything back in and really lock it down is when you're really comfortable about it. But it's the whole like, oh my god, I'm gonna fuck up my words again. There's the opposite of the free market, which is you only trade within the country itself. And the only time you do that is like if you're confident you can meet all of your needs, and you're really not looking for massive growth. Because the one advantage of free market stuff is just massive amounts of money and growth. You do need, be able to go everywhere. But I see them just keeping things open because of money. And if they closed everything down, the amount of negative PR they'd get would probably outweigh locking fuckers off the Switch. Like, what is that? Like, you can't play Overwatch on the Switch? Like, that's what you're going to die? That's the hill you're fighting on? Like, I don't see him doing that. You can see that Overwatch League starts with an early closed beta access for people with Overwatch 2, then a year later. No. If Overwatch League Overwatch League is playing on Overwatch 2. End of story. That's what they stated. That happens at the end of April. If they make people watch Overwatch 2 being played and they're stuck with this fucking game, there will be riots. That will not happen. It's going to be 1 to 2 weeks after it's going to get released to everyone. And they can call it beta, they can call it whatever the fuck they want. It's going to be the PvP side. PvE is what you're actually going to pay for. That I told everyone that years ago. Not years ago. Maybe it's a year ago now. But yeah. Switch players are more than you think. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying if we looked at a percentage of how people play Overwatch and other now Microsoft games, if you hacked off PlayStation and Switch, how much of your population are you forcing onto your platform? How many people just don't go on your platform anymore? How much, you got to understand, some people aren't going to play your shit anymore because you do that. Is that loss worth forcing people onto an Xbox? Probably not. Just allow people to play your games, allow people to buy stuff, and you'll be fine. So that's what I expect out of this. The big thing is, don't expect anything for a good chunk of time. Have I just lost all my games? I've only played 2 games. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I'll throw this up on YouTube. Don't worry about it. Is the main thing I have to take away from all this. Don't worry about it, guys. By the time it affects us, it's going to be a year down the road. So plan accordingly, but there's nothing really to plan. They make us all get battle passes or game passes. We get one. $10. Okay. They usually allow people to use a game pass or buy it normally. I've already bought the game normally. So unless they pay, I'll probably buy Overwatch 2 normally instead of getting the battle pass, to be completely honest. I'm old-fashioned. I would really like a physical copy of my game, but to make things subscription-based, I always want access to the stuff I buy. What I meant, Overwatch 2 closed beta access when Overwatch 3 comes around, then open beta on maybe Microsoft-based server side, or not. And Takeover to complete a full release. No. You guys are overestimating Overwatch 2 immensely. Microsoft's like, oh yeah, Overwatch 2 is going to be a good game. We'll make some money off of it. To think they're going to change the way they acquire a $70 billion company specifically around Overwatch 2? Fuck no. No. If you bought like a multi-story level building, you're going to worry about like one of the floors. But that one floor, overall, like unless it's structurally inaccessible and fucking everything else up, it's not going to have that big of an impact on you buying this entire property. There's fuck Overwatch 2. Fuck every game Blizzard has right now. Put them in the garbage. They're unplayable. Blizzard still owns the rights to Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, Overwatch. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. That's the goal. That's what gives them so much power and money. Or not power, but so much ability. Oh, and Candy Crush. And Candy Crush. Can't forget that. I think Candy Crush does make more money than Overwatch. At least at this point. The IP, probably the data analytics behind it, is the most valuable thing that they got here. Mobile games are cash cows. We're going to see every IP get mobile games for 100%. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about Overwatch 2. I wouldn't worry about this. I wouldn't worry about Overwatch 2. What I would be thinking about is what Microsoft is planning to do with all of the IP in the future. And bam, end YouTube video there.